everybody, and thank you for joining me today. So working more on the main link in the center here. Got most of his face is pretty much done. Working some on the top of the Mask of Truth and some of his shoulder. I think we're starting to see the hilt of his sword too. So yeah, 55.5%, so we're making good progress. Happy with that. Yeah, pretty soon I'll be moving this frame again to get to the very edge. So yeah, like I said, this one is zipping right along. It's a really short piece, so we'll see if I can leave it threaded or not. There we go. I was hoping this would be long enough for 2 stitches, but I think it may not be. We shall see. Yeah, I'm thinking if the next stitch was right next to it, I would have enough, but yeah, it's not going to be enough to reach down to that stitch and do it, so I'm just going to tie this off. I think I have a lot of leftover bits of this color left anyway, though, so. There, grab my scissors. Which luckily I did leave in reach. I'd done that before. I sat down to start filming and then realized, oh, my scissors are on the other table. Way out of reach. All right, we're going to end up with a few of this color, I think. As this thread is fairly short and it's kind of scattered around. Oh, that goes one more down, yeah. Yeah, so I hit a few more zeros this week. I think I have about 7 or 8 colors zeroed out now. Those are always so fun. Yeah, so I discovered the, it marks new zeros in yellow, and then I think it resets overnight. Yeah. Or maybe not. It seems to take more than the resetting the stitch count. Yeah. Although it could be less, it might be 24 hours, I'm not sure, because that last 0 that I saw there, I got later last evening. Oops, pulled too hard and unthreaded. Yeah, so it might take, but they do eventually, those new ones that are highlighted in yellow as being new zeros, they do eventually stop being marked as new and disappear from your list if you have it toggled so that. Yeah, I was surprised. I was one of the first to get the new Pattern Keeper update. I usually find I have to wait a few weeks to get mine, but yeah, it's random as to who gets it first, and I guess I was in the first batch this time. I'm not usually. It's funny because I'm in a Pattern Keeper Facebook group, so there's always people, do you have the new one yet? Do you have the new one yet? Because people are so eager to get the new update, but it does come eventually. I find though, even though of course new features are fun and exciting, even from the beginning, I have absolutely loved this program for stitching. It has helped improve my stitching experience so much. I can stitch faster. The fact that I don't have to keep searching my color key, because yeah, I used to keep it in a page protector next to me, but you know, sometimes, especially when you have a pattern with a lot of colors, you could be searching through that key 2 or 3 times and you still can't find the symbols. So it's really nice that it's right there when you search, at least for patterns that are compatible. Yeah, so far I haven't used any non-compatible patterns with it, because you can still upload from, say, a picture, and so you can still mark off the stitches even if you don't have the full search features. But yeah, so far I've been lucky. Even the couple of ones that I bought off of from Etsy sellers, have worked. A couple of them I had to add the colors in manually. Tiny little knot here, so I had to add the colors in manually, so it did take a little time to do that, but definitely worth it. Yeah, the firefly that I charted myself, I had to enter the colors manually, and it was 150 colors, so yeah, that took me like a couple of hours, but like I said, worth it in the long run, because now it's got the full searchability features. Yeah, this one was from an Etsy seller, Pixels and Bits, and it was mostly compatible. There were two colors that, for some reason, the symbols did import, but they didn't automatically connect it with the color numbers. So I just had to enter those in manually, and then it was fine. So, you know, took a minute. Definitely worth it. But yeah, so it didn't say that it was compatible, so I was kind of crossing my fingers while I'm uploading it, because I'm not sure if I would have stitched it if it had to be from paper. I've been very spoiled by stitching from the app. Well, I never would have tried parking without the app. I'd already been stitching with Pattern Keeper for, I think 2 or 3 years before I tried parking. Okay. A lot of threads here, but I'm going to be adding more. 37, 87. Let's see what we got. Yeah, so funny the other day. My son and I were doing our weekly usual cleaning, and he says, "Mom, I'll sweep the floor." And I'm thinking, you know, he usually doesn't do the floors. I do them. And then I look over, and he's pretending to sweep it with this tiny little Lego broom. You know, it's like an inch long. Oh, he's such a goof. Always makes me laugh. Yeah, sweeping floors before you vacuum is kind of necessary around here, because bits of hay get tracked all over the place because of the guinea pig, and you don't want to suck those up with your vacuum. They clog it up quite a bit. Guess how I know? Yeah, I learned that one the hard way. Okay, I'm gonna go back down a bit. So the colors are kind of going more sort of slanting the other way, opposite of my diagonal, so I'm probably going to be changing colors a fair amount here. Let's see. Okay. Just wanted to see what other stitches I have of this color and decide which length of thread I want to use. So I had some really short ones and then a medium length leftover piece. So I'm going to use the longer piece here. Carry it a bit. Yeah, it was supposed to warm up here, but it did not. My husband turned off my block heater, thinking I wouldn't need it because it was supposed to be like only 1 degree below freezing, and then it was not. It was 20. So, yeah, I couldn't go grocery shopping right away on my usual day for doing it. I had to turn the block heater back on and wait for the car to warm up for an hour before. Oh. But it hasn't snowed again like it said it was gonna, so I guess there's that trade-off. Yeah, I am so ready for spring, but for us that's gonna be a while still. Yeah, it's funny because like every spring my mother-in-law, who lives in BC where it's warmer, will send me pictures. "Oh, look, my spring flowers are coming out." It's like, oh, I'm jealous. But then this year they had a big bunch of snow, So she's like, I hope it doesn't kill my flowers, because yeah, like they got a ton of snow on top, but it generally melts pretty quickly. Oops. Yeah, when I grew up on Vancouver Island, you almost never had enough snow to actually play in because it almost always turned into rain before it was even done snowing. Yeah, here where we live now, snow is not unusual. But it's funny, my son still gets excited for the first snowfall every year. Yeah. To be a kid, right? Although hard to believe, he's turning 16 soon, which is just like, how the heck did that happen? Oh my gosh. It's all relative, because I remember when I was a kid, you know, getting older and my parents saying, how did that happen? It's like, well, to me, it seems to have taken forever because, you know, it's my entire lifetime. But yeah, when you're an adult, you know, 16 years of your life is a smaller percentage than all of it. So, ooh. Yeah, a fair bit of confetti here. Okay, that's still within my inch that I like to carry, so I will. Yeah, I had to not carry a bit down here because there's the reddish markings among the very light colors, and the next reddish marking was a bit over, and I did not want to risk it showing through, so I ended up stopping and starting again in those areas, just in case, because I'm kind of paranoid. Yeah, so right where I'm stitching now, there's a fair bit of confetti, but I was browsing through the pattern and there's some more bigger blocks of color coming up, so those should go quicker. Let's see if I can get, aha, good. Those were kind of uneven, but I managed to get both strands to cooperate. Yes, I was mistaken. I thought when I was working on the other side, I thought that was the edge of his hat, but actually no, it was his shoulder. The edge of his hat goes over this side. When I looked at the mock-up again, yeah. Okay, we'll see if this piece is enough to do all the stitches I've highlighted or not. It's going to be close, I can tell that much. This should be just enough. Excellent. Pardon me. Okay, 38, 64. Only 14 of this color left. So yeah, we're getting closer to the end there. Oops. Catching one of my carries back there and pulling the thread out of place. Don't want to do that. Come on. Very fiddly little thing. This is what I get for trying to use up every last bit of thread that I can. But we managed. Just barely. Actually, I got one of those little tucker tools from Heaven and Earth Designs, but now that I don't turn my work to end off threads, I find I ended up not really using it that much. Yeah, I was a little concerned working on this Mask of Truth because there's some very light colors that are surrounded by darker colors there, that it would kind of pull the, you know, the fuzzies into the white, because I've had that before. I made the mistake of doing the black outline first and then filling it in with white, and yeah, you had black fuzzies stuck in the white thread. But so far I seem to have been lucky. I guess there's just enough of a shading change that I didn't, yeah, have that issue. Because yeah, when I did that one that had the fuzzies issue, it was white and black were right next to each other. So in that case, yeah, it's recommended to do the white first. For some reason, the white fuzzies in the black is not as obvious as the other way around. I discovered the hard way. Oh yeah, there is lots of colors here. This is definitely going to slow us down a little bit, but it'll keep things interesting. Okay, I'm not going to leave that one threaded because it's too short and it's going to take me a bit to get there. Actually, let's fill in this one first. I can see there's two of this color below where I'm cutting it off, so I definitely won't get a 0. And there's only 3 here, only 5 in this area, so the 6th one must be elsewhere. Oh yeah, it's up a few more diagonals over, but yeah, because 2 of them are below my cutoff line, I won't be getting another 0 yet. Okay. Yeah, so one guy I follow Ryan, piano guy. He's been doing the Legend of Zelda soundtrack music, and he finished the Ocarina of Time entire soundtrack, so I've been listening to that. Yeah, like I've heard the individual songs as they were uploaded, a lot of them, but yeah, now you can hear the whole thing in its entirety. Yeah, it's been quite fun. I'll try to remember to post a link to it. So yeah, if you hear me humming the the songs, that's why. I've been listening to that while I read at night before I go to sleep, so it's been kind of stuck in my head. Yeah, it's interesting. I find the piano is a really interesting instrument to be able to get that full feel of the music, but some of the songs are also very difficult to translate to the piano, I find. Like, yeah, he actually had where he was asking people if he should bother covering, say, the Forest Temple and the Shadow Temple, because those are quite difficult ones to cover. Oh, did I do something wrong here? Let me see. Oh, I might have. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, actually I didn't. No, okay, I was counting something incorrectly, but we're okay. Let's just double check. 3. Yes, okay. These colors are very similar, and it was easy for my eye to get tricked there. Thank goodness for my grid lines. Yeah, so again, that one, the two are right below the line, but I won't get to them till the next pass. I suppose if I really wanted to get a 0, I could do that, but I'm not gonna. Yeah, I don't bother feathering that bottom edge. You could totally do that if you wanted to. I've never had a problem with lines, so I don't, but yeah, like I said. Or if you really wanted to get another 0, so you do those anyway, you know, up to you. How rigid you want to be on following the guidelines. I like having a nice, clean, straight edge to work from at the top, but yeah, for some people they don't find that as important, and that's totally fine too. Yeah, quite a few colors. We're getting close to the end here. Yeah, you can see all 9 of the remaining stitches of this color are in this area again, but yeah, some of them are below that line, so yeah, I always love doing the last pass of my work, because then you get to get 0s for everything. Okay. Yeah, well, I guess these colors here are only being used on the Mask of Truth, so that's why they're all kind of clustered together. Okay, 37, 22. Yeah, so my goal of reaching 2/3 done definitely looks doable. I might even reach 3/4 done, we'll see. Especially since, as I said, I've been looking ahead and there's quite a bit of bigger blocks of color further over. We may get more done than I anticipated. Make up for last month when I lost some time. But I'm not on a deadline, so we're all good. Yeah, lots of single stitches of color here. Was being a bit difficult. Yeah, there's a lot of pale colors here, so I want to be careful where I end off the darker colors. I don't want little pink and red bits coming up through the pale background of the mask here. Came up between the threads there of that strand that's parked here. Yeah. That's going to make that other stitch look kind of funny, so let's try that again. It doesn't happen very often, but yeah. There we go. Yeah. So let's just have to hold the parked thread taut so that it doesn't do that. Or a few times when I did that and didn't notice until later, what I ended up doing was pulling the thread back, unparking it, and then coming from the bottom when I did that stitch, basically restarting it. So like here, if it was still split, I might go back down where this came up, unpark it to the back, and then come from the bottom and go up, just to give it a neater look. But I caught it before that became a problem, so now that looks good. It doesn't look wonky. Okay. This is a super short piece, but I think it might be enough for those last two stitches in the next pass, so I'm going to park it and give it a try. Okay. Yeah, so you can see there's like a couple dozen colors in this one little area. Definitely makes it go a little bit slower, but also what gives it the incredible detail. Yeah, I guess it's all the colors because, like I said, this is a smaller than I usually work at. This is 48,000 stitches instead of something that's, you know, over 200,000, so the extra colors, I guess, is what helps really add those details since you don't have a lot of space, surface area to add them, so. Unfortunately, that piece is not long enough to park below. So. Yeah, it was funny because when I used to stitch by page, I didn't have visible lines on the front, but if you looked at the back, you could see where the pages ended because all of the threads were tied off in separate opposite directions. Yeah. None of them crossed where the page line was, so yeah, you could tell where it had been, but only on the back, so I wasn't concerned. Because you couldn't see them on the front. Yeah, I remember before I started these great big full coverage pieces, I would hear people talking about getting lines and stuff and think, well, why don't they just sort of stitch the whole, across the whole pattern at once? It's like, oh, I had no idea how massive they are. That's not really feasible. I mean, some people do with the extreme cross country, but then that means you have to be willing to move your frame a lot if you're using a frame. Of course, some people don't. Yeah, I've seen some people who stitch in hand, which I think that would drive me nuts, but I mean, the end result is the same, right? So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we just kind of ended up with a natural straight line here just because of that's where the colors, how the colors went. And then I'm going to go back up and work my way down again. Oh, if that was threaded, yeah, I unthreaded it. So yeah, like I say, I don't go row by row. I follow the colors, and so sometimes that means my stitching is not as diagonal as it could be. Okay. Got a lot of threads here, but fortunately we're getting to the point where I can either park them out of my working area to wait for later, or they get ended off. Okay. Ooh. Pardon me. Yeah, we finally spun our mattress around, so my neck's been feeling better. I guess I'd worn too much of a groove in it, so now, yeah. We can't flip it because it's a pillow top, and obviously you don't want the soft part on the bottom, but we did spin it around, rotate it, so yeah. Yeah, I also got one of those neck traction thingies. It's like a board, it almost looks like a bicycle seat. And yeah, you lie on it for like 5 to 10 minutes a day. And so I've been doing that for a few days, and I do notice it has helped with the pain. You can also do a similar with rolling up a towel, but this is a little firmer, and I find it, yeah, it seems to work a little better. It wasn't that expensive either. It was like 20 something, so. Yeah, it has like 2 ways you can use it. One gives a bit more of a stretch, and one is the gentle one. I've just been using the gentle one to start with, and we'll see if I feel like I need to progress with it, but yeah, so far it's been helping. Yeah, people complain about lower back pain, but that's usually not my issue. Mine is my neck has always been a problem. Yeah, I have had, you know, lower back spasms before, but for me, they're pretty rare. It's, yeah, the neck that's the issue. My son has it a bit too, but fortunately his seems to not be as bad as mine was at his age. So I think he's probably not loose jointed like I am, or if he is, it's less. So of course they do say that those problems tend to get worse as you age, so you never know. Hopefully not. Okay, 3031. Yeah, I can see I'm going to end up with a few strands of this because of the way this color flows across the pattern. Yeah, so we're getting into the darker colors here because we're getting into his shoulder area here, which is in shadow a bit, so it's going to be darker in the shading there. Okay, I think this 2 stitches is all I'm going to get out of this, and then I'm going to have to start a new one. Yeah. Oh. Sometimes the eye of the needle gets stuck and doesn't want to slide along the thread. Yeah, I find that's usually when it's time to replace that needle, if it keeps happening. Yeah, I don't know how long a needle lasts me because, of course, I use multiple ones, so yeah, some are newer than others. Yeah, there was someone in a group saying they like to start with, they stitch by page, and they like to start with a new needle per page. I used to be really cheap with my needles though, and yeah, I would only replace them when I absolutely had to, when they were catching and shredding the thread and stuff. Okay, 317. Okay, I think I'm going to use a couple of short pieces here. One for this one in the corner, and then a different one for those 2 stitches down there, since I have a bunch of short little ones to use up. I might as well. So let me see. Yeah, there's not much part below in the last pass. So yeah, if there's not much stitches here, but there's a whole bunch of that color lower down, then I'll use a longer piece and then just park it. So. Goodness, you do not want to come up nicely, do you? There we go. Just trying to make sure it didn't split the fibers of that thread I have parked in that hole. Okay. Yeah, this confetti has definitely slowed me down. Usually in this amount of time I've done over 100, but yeah. That's okay. It's not a race. So we've got more darker colors over here, so I'm safe to pin stitch again. They will get covered up. I always try to get at least 100 stitched in a session. Usually it's more than that. Oh, that one is a long one. expected it to be short, but I guess I ran out of short bits, so I had to use a long one here. So I'm going to tie this one off because I have another thread parked for those other stitches down there. So no point carrying this one a fairly long way. Come from this side because, yeah, it doesn't want to come up neatly from the other side there. Yeah, I try to go down in the holes that are full of other threads. I find that keeps things a little neater. If you're coming up where it's already full, it can kind of pull the other ones out of place a bit. So, I mean, in the end, that's details. It's pretty close and probably no one will see it, but yeah. If it can help with neatness, then might as well, I think. Oh, pardon. Yeah, it's another one close to being done, but we won't quite get to 0 yet. Was selected, silly me. Yeah, once again, like I said, it ended up being kind of a straight edge here, but that's just how the colors, because yeah, this is the edge of the Mask of Truth here, so yeah, it ended up being a straight edge there. So Sometimes that's how it works out. So some people like to make sure they stick to a strict diagonal, and I just kind of adjust depending on how the colors go. Okay, 3 777. Okay, so back up a bit. Start working my way down again. Okay. Okay, so this color is gonna snake around a bit, but that's okay. Oh, I almost picked up the wrong thread. Yeah, that would have not been good. Yeah, so to keep from closing stuff in, I'm kind of splitting this up a bit. So I'm gonna do these 3 I've highlighted, then cross them, and that will bring the thread back up to the top. And then I will carry on downwards with it. Of course, once I do the stitches that are to the left of them, so that I don't close them in. Okay. Yeah, this is why I like to leave things threaded when I can. It goes a little quicker. Drop a needle, pick up another. And just carry on with it. Goodness, if I could find the right spot there. Okay, so I'm thinking for this color, we will probably end up with more than one thread. If I'm remembering correctly, this one, it's a medium length. So yeah, we probably would have needed more than one thread anyway. We'll see. Okay, I may do it with one, it all depends. Okay, let's park that there. Switch back to this color. thread has a teeny little knot on it. So that's why you're hearing it pop a bit. I probably should end it and restart it, but I'm being lazy. Okay. All right, so this one will be tied off. Okay. So yeah, sometimes they're just, ends are too fuzzy to thread properly, so I have to trim them a little. Yeah, so I decided I'm probably going to use black for this piece to mount it because yeah, my Ocarina of Time one I'm going to do in black for sure, since it's most of the background is black, and I think it'll, you know, it'll match nicely then. So I'll probably do this one black as well so that they'll match, even though one is going to be much bigger than the other. Because yeah, the stained glass Zelda is over 350,000. So yeah, this one is less than 50,000. So yeah, it's not like they're really going to match that much, but oh well. Okay, so do this one in the corner here. Then I'm going to park it. So I think I can do all, more with one strand than it appeared at first glance. So now I'm going to do these J symbol stitches. Yeah, and see, that way I didn't have to add another strand, and I didn't have to close anything in. Ah, good. Now we're going to pass 100 stitches. Yeah, it took a while though. Yeah, this was a very high confetti area. Definitely got some brain exercise this morning. Okay, so then, oh yeah, I actually can do this with one strand for now. I mean, it's probably going to run out and I'll have to add another one anyway, but yeah, there's actually a way I can do this and not close anything in. So I'm going to do all these that I highlighted. And then can you see what I'm going to do next? Yeah, I was saying my kiddo's turning 16 soon, so he may go for his driver's test once the snow melts. My gosh. Like, how on earth can you be driving? It was kind of funny, actually, when he was in kindergarten, they had this, you know, when I grow up, I will be, and he wrote, nothing, I will not get bigger. And somebody said, what was that about? I said, no, it's like Peter Pan syndrome, right? Didn't want to grow up. And then I said, you know, but if you don't grow any bigger, you won't be able to drive a car. And he thought about it for a minute. He's like, okay, I guess I'm okay with getting bigger. Okay, so then I did this one here in the corner, and then I parked it here. So I was able to keep from closing things in. So now I'm going to carry this strand back upwards. Just again, make sure I grabbed the correct one, because there are a lot of very similar colors in this area. So yeah, let's try not to do that. That's one of the problems when my parked threads are really short. That happens a little more. I find they they don't stay nice and neatly tucked away when they're a little bit shorter. I tend to get a little bit messier, so. Okay, so park that there. Okay, and I can end off this thread. Yeah, sometimes what I'll do is kind of twist those a bit, use the longer threads to kind of tame the shorter ones. Yeah, the magnets I use to hold my threads aside, I don't like them too close to my working area. I find I brush against them with my hand that's on the bottom, and that gets irritating after a while, so. Oh, goodness. As you can see, I'm heading into an area here where there's going to be some bigger blocks, so that will give me a bit of a brain break and speed things up a little. So again, I'm going to split this color up a little bit so that I don't have to add another thread. And I don't have to go out of order either. There. Another thread I can finish. Thread was a little twisted. Do some baking today. I actually tried something new I made. I called them Nanaimo bar brownies. So I made brownies, and then for the icing I used like a Nanaimo bar filling. Yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it because I found actual Nanaimo bars, they're okay, but I don't really like the bottom layer that much. I guess I'm not a big fan of coconut. Like, I can eat it, but yeah, it's it's not my favorite. So I figured, well, they have a chocolate base. So instead of making like a, you know, kind of a fudge hard candy base with coconut in it, instead I made just regular brownies, and then, yeah. And I'm not usually an icing person, but I do like the Nanaimo bar filling kind of icing. So maybe it's the custard powder in it. I don't know. But yeah, I tried those, and they were definitely a hit with my husband and son. So might make those again. Could have melted some chocolate on top too if you wanted to make them more like Nanaimo bars, but yeah, I didn't bother with that. Okay, well, if I do 2 more stitches here, that'll take me to 125. Okay, let's just kind of there, untwist it a bit. I like to end on even numbers or round numbers. Multiples of 5 work too. So it gives me 125. So thank you so much for joining me today as usual. And I hope to see you here again another time. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.